to tip this one up following Michigan's 20-point loss to Illinois. We are 2 weeks away from Selection Sunday, and here we are, and not a good one today for Michigan as they get beat 93-73. It's the Michigan basketball postgame live show. A lot of people thought that this was going to happen, not get smeared by 20 points, but that, Michigan was living dangerously the way that they had been playing basketball really for a while, certainly against a Rutgers, and they pulled it out at the end. And then the ugly game against Nebraska, losing it down the stretch against Michigan State for about 2 weeks. And I think does it all catch up with them today? And they, get smacked down a little bit to reality. They were in the mix till March for the Big Ten regular season. I think if I'm a Michigan basketball fan, I turn the page quickly on this one. Hey, a pretty good year. Put themselves in position in March, but then teams are ascending, and teams that have their eye on the prize and trying to win championships, regular season or conference tournaments, the play really gets ratcheted up. Early on, I was thinking, really, I've said it a lot in February. You get close to March, and you got to have exceptional guard play. But really, Michigan had one guy today that showed up for him, and that was Vlad Golden. Other than that, and that's not a good sign. You lose the game, but it's not a good sign when you just have one guy show up. We'll go through this one. I always take your feedback. If you're out there, we'll look through it. I took some notes and watched this game. For those of you that are watching this one back or listening to it, we're busy Sunday afternoon. We're into March, game 29, just 2 regular season games left after this one. Maryland for Michigan, Maryland on Wednesday, and then next week up in East Lansing. So number 15, Michigan versus Illinois today. Michigan was a 3.5-point favorite, but it was the Fighting Illini who got out to a 7-point lead at one point in the first half, and they were aggressive. And to Michigan's credit, they closed it to a 1-point gap at the break. It was 31-30, but Michigan was careless with the ball, reminiscent of early in the year where they were coughing it up too much and with regularity. U of M 9 turnovers after 20 minutes. You get into the second half and you thought, all right, you didn't really like how Michigan played, but, they're only down 1. So here they go. Maybe it's the same thing. Maybe it's the same long day at the dentist and they'll be able to find a way to figure it out. But they didn't. But there was a big highlight early, 3 minutes into the second half. Vlad, who was, again, Michigan's really the only guy that showed up and was ready to go today. That's the way it went. He went coast to coast at 7-1. Got the rebound, started dribbling up, didn't find any relief, kept going, and then you saw it, then he went all the way in and made the layup. So good for Vlad with his parents there and on senior night and everything else. That was, to me, the big Michigan highlight of the game. But then that was it. The Illini went on a run, and they got up double figures for the first time almost at the midway point of the second half. But then it just got worse. Illinois, got up 12 with 9 remaining, and then they were raining threes. They were banking them in. But really the story of this game was the rebounding. And, Michigan's got 2 7-footers. And Illinois' got 1, but Illinois was attacking the glass. And a lot of that, when you see rebounding, you think, hey, you really, a lot of rebounding, toughness and effort, and Michigan didn't show that. And so hopefully they can learn from a clawing, scratching team That's going to, and other teams will see that. They'll try to beat them up on the boards and push them around as well. But, down 16 with 7.5 to go. And then they got up 20. And that ended up being the final margin, 93-73. Not enough offense or defense, and they got pounded on the glass. There was, 19? I'll see. I guess I have to look it up to see if they ended up grabbing one late. I wrote it down. 19 offensive rebounds for Illinois late. Well, let's check to see if they did end up getting another one. No, they ended up with 19, but 24-20 on the glass wouldn't look like a total. Yeah, you get beat, but it was the offensive rebounding really stood out. That in the 3-point shooting, Illinois hoisted up 37 threes, and they made 14 of them. And that was also one of the stories of the game. Michigan didn't have any resistance there. U of M falls to 22-7 and 14-4. And like I said, I think this one, it should be a quick one. Scrub this one if you're a fan, and start thinking about, sure, win these last two. You don't, the home finale on Wednesday, and then going up to East Lansing. I mean, these are two teams in Maryland and Michigan State who have some good computer numbers, and a lot of people will pick those two teams to do a little damage in the NCAA tournament. So you've got a shot to show that you can get back. Yeah, you didn't win the regular season, but can you go up and can you protect your home floor against Maryland? Can you go up to East Lansing and beat Michigan State? And it was only last week that I was sitting over here saying, look, the most of the game, because I thought it was true that Michigan looked like a better team than Michigan State. And things have completely changed since then. Michigan State looked really good against Wisconsin today. Their depth, the energy that they played with, and the defense that they're playing, they're headed one way. And now, and the way Michigan was playing, you had to credit them because they were winning the ball games. But, now, hopefully this is however you want to say it, cold water in your face, slap them upside the head, reality check, and they can get back to it and think about, all right, put some things together. Because if not, it could be with everything that was good for them this year, could really just go out the window now. But they did, Michigan get they secured with the Wisconsin loss today to Michigan State. They secured the number 2 seed, right, in the Big Ten tournament. So there is that. Let's work through it a little bit and see what the people have to say. Kurt said, worst rebounding team in America. Gave up the offensive rebounds. It was 19. They might not win another game. And, so that's after a loss where you feel like that might be a little bit going overboard, talking about not winning another game. That would be losing to Maryland, losing to Michigan State, losing in their first game in the Big Ten tournament in Indianapolis, and then losing wherever they would go into the NCAA tournament. I know you might feel that way, but that would be a disaster. But, you watch them play today, understand where that can creep into your mind. Fancy Lion says he just started watching the game with 18 minutes left in the second half. Get it over early. He used to get mad at trolls calling us frauds, but now he realizes it's true. Our record is fraudulent. Yeah, I don't know. I think that the team, when you parse words, I don't think Michigan's record is fraudulent. They went through and they won those ball games. Your record is your record. And should they have lost some of those games? But I do think, I do think that you can look at Michigan and say, they're a fraudulent team overall. They're not a 22-win team. They weren't a Big Ten championship type team. And the way they played today, turning the ball over, getting pounded on the glass, no, not very good offensively, bad defensively. One guy showing up, they played fraudulently. You could say that they could be an early out if they don't pick things up. March is when you got to light a fire and you got to start playing way better. And Michigan, the curtain went up in March, and they went out there like, hey, we'll just roll the basketballs out there, and that is not going to cut it. And it's really right. And if I had to start, I mean, Danny Wolf, everybody, every game, oh, Danny Wolf. No, Danny Wolf needs to play a lot better. People are talking, oh, Danny Wolf, all Big Ten. Danny Wolf is Vlad Golden. Danny Wolf really needs to pick it up. Danny Wolf is out, maybe Danny Wolf, it feels like, this is harsh on Danny Wolf and everything, but it felt like Danny Wolf started reading his press clippings like he's a first round pick. He's being mocked. He's gone. No, Danny Wolf ain't NBA. Danny Wolf looks tired. Danny Wolf, in March, you got to tighten the screws up. Not going out there freelancing and making soft passes. Danny Wolf is playing soft. He's got to tough it up. All right. I was thinking this is going to be a short show. Robert is calling it brutal. Dusty gets a long-term contract and the team doesn't understand the basics like blocking out. Brad Underwood flat out owns Michigan. Well, it's true. They won, is that 10 in a row now? 9 in a row? 10 in a row? Michigan go blue 1, 2, 3, 4 says Pippen deserves more playing time, in my opinion. Look, Michigan has he has not played like it. Michigan has a big three in Vlad, and Area 51, and Trey. But 2/3 of Area 51, they're missing. Trey Donaldson has not been the kind of a player that I thought that, he was tracking to be. He's taken a step back. Danny Wolf has taken a step back. And so guard play, Roddy Gale's just a straight line driver. What did they say during the game? That he's hit 1-3 in 2025. He's like one of, see what he was today, but he's like 1 of 26, 1 of 25 in 2025. He's your starting shooting guard. So you say, well, put somebody else in there besides Gale. Oh, Reuben Jones coming back, I think, from being sick. And, he was steadied things out there for 2-3 games. But for the majority of the season, Reuben Jones was nowhere to be found. So it's not like you can say, oh, just wait till Jones gets back in there. You can't say that he's even better than Gale. And so now you're talking about 2 freshmen and Pippen and Kason, and those guys look like freshmen. Those guys don't look like they're ready to step up and play more minutes. So you're talking about getting him more playing time. I don't know. Those guys don't look like they're ready to battle it out with big-time backcourts to try to win championships, whether it's going to be now in the Big Ten tournament or the NCAA tournament. Those guys don't look like they're ready for, that kind of heat. They're not ready for that. Now, look, Gale's not ready for it. Doesn't look like Reuben Jones ready for it. Doesn't look like Trey Donaldson's ready for it. And I'm trying not to overreact on all of this, but it had been going a certain way, and then it kind of looks like it blew up a little bit on them. So they got to really regroup. Wednesday's going to be very telling if this team are they going to come out flat as a pancake now that it's all over? I don't think that Michigan State, stranger things have happened. We're at that point. Maybe Michigan State could lose to Iowa, but until that, I'm not playing that game. I would like to see Michigan come out and play like their hair is on fire and play like it's March and play like it's tournament time on Wednesday, because they played like this was an October friendly against Illinois. who came in and outworked them on both sides of the ball. They were way better on offense, way better on defense, and killed them on the glass. I don't know how Dusty May acts when his team plays a stinker like today. You know, sometimes you got to know what buttons to push and everything. But I feel like maybe he should go and channel his old boss and Bobby Knight and take some chairs and start throwing them around the locker room. That's what it looks like Michigan needs. Michigan look like they're tired. Robert said it was a difficult watch. Don said it caught up with him today. If they do play like this, they will be an easy out in the tournaments. I agree with that. But, you know, this is where you're a coach. This is where you're a player. This is where you find out. All the stuff up to this point, everybody slapping them on the back. Now it's time to slap them around on the face. How are they going to respond to that? For those of you that might be listening on the podcast, I'm like slapping myself in the face, waving at the camera. SW Lion. 26 as Michigan has beaten the odds, winning as many close games as it has. Let's just hope that they can find a higher level of play before it's March Madness. Word! That's what they need. Put a little star next to that one. That's right. That's right. That's what they need. John is talking about Michigan needs to find themselves a Ben Herbert strength and conditioning coach so they can handle the other teams because they are playing very soft. Yeah, look, I don't mind that. They did play very soft today, so they have to own that. Strength and conditioning coach right now. They need to play. You know, people, you say this a lot, and sometimes I get it. I think it's a little bit cliche, like where they say, "Oh, you need dogs," but they do need dogs. They played like a whip dog. They played like dogs today, but the other kind of dogs. Played like whimpering. No, I don't need to go that far. But they played. You're right, John. A lot of bad mouth. And listen, I'm leading the way here. But a lot of people are saying this team has first weekend exit written all over them. Here's Shimey. I have not read, but I know because he's been here the last couple games, and I was kind of yelling at him and telling him, giving him the what for. So I'm sure he is going to give it to me. Let's see what he says. He gives me credit for coming on after this game. Yeah, well, you know how it is. You get a spot and you feel like you can see the end and you either rise up and really go after it, or you're either a pretender or a contender. And today, Michigan fell apart. Yeah, maybe Dusty May has hinted at it. Did he say that who was sick last game? Because I was looking at Danny Wolf. I think it was Namari Burnett who hit the three, and I was looking at Wolf, red faced, and he looked gassed. Maybe they've. I'm not making any excuses. I'm just saying that maybe the flu has run through this team, and I don't know. That's not an excuse. That sounds like an excuse. So let's just move on. Here's Kent, who's talking about this is the fifth best team of the Big Ten. If we're being honest, great turnaround by Dusty, but a pretty soft team overall. Not a single dog on the team. There it is, the dog. That's what I was talking about. Yeah, just because you didn't play well, it doesn't mean it's the one thing about a dog. I mean, if it's always in there. You say, if you're a If you're going to bite, you're going to bite as a pup. But I don't know. Kason, I think it could be a dog. Who knows? But I thought Trey Donaldson could be a dog. Juwan Howard was at the game. It was nice to see him at the Chrysler Center coming back with Jace being the senior day. But Juwan's like, this looks like the. You sure you didn't want me to coach again? People are predicting bad things now. They'll finish with 3 losses, first round loss, most likely. Yeah, I don't know. Let me think that over about the predictions. Calvin says Trey is not peaking. He's not a good facilitator, to be honest. Whew. Yeah, well, the guards overall, but if not too early to start talking about next year. I mean, I think that's a little bit. I think it is a little bit too early. Is it true that Michigan's last 9 wins have been by 4 points or less? In all of their games, besides today's and the Purdue game, have all been extremely close. They beat Rutgers by 2. They beat Nebraska by 3. They lost pretty handily to Michigan State, but they beat Ohio State by 3, Purdue 2, Indiana 3, Oregon 4. So there you go. They beat Rutgers by 3. They beat Penn State by 4. They beat Northwestern by 4. They lost to Minnesota by 3. They blew out Washington, UCLA, and USC. They're ready for those Pac-10, the old Pac-12 teams. A lot of close games, and you're hoping that you use those close games and you're able to take those and do something with them. Calvin is looking towards next year. They have 3 players signed for next year. Here they are, Calvin. Trey McKinney out of the state of Michigan. Winters Grady and Oscar Goodman. Grady's a 6'8" forward. I think he's out of California. Not 100% sure on that. Oscar Goodman, where's he from? New Zealand? He is with the team. I have not actually looked down there on the bench to see and picked him out, but he's practicing with the team, but not going to play. These are the 3, but they're not done yet. And then there'll be obviously the transfer portal. Everyone except Golden and Reuben Jones could theoretically come back. Honeymoon is over. I don't know. I mean, look, there's their point about let's see how they can finish the season up. Today was a rough one. They deserve the criticism. Some of this lose out. I mean, it was a bad game. All of this. This is where you go. Let's just see. Tough loss. Yeah. Yeah, it was a tough loss. There's no doubt about that. Any word on recruiting? They're in on a guy from Tennessee. Murfreesboro, Tennessee. I think the recruiting part is that it's going to be transfer portal time. They are recruiting 2 big men one from Serbia and is the other one from Poland. I think they're both 7-footers. They have been in. I don't know about today, but it was last week. So they have been in. I talked about I don't have the name, the Murfreesboro kid, but then it's going to be all transfer portal time, like most teams. And, that's the way it's going to go. Get yourself They've already got 3. Are they going to go 4 or 5 with freshmen? They got to see, who's coming, who's going. Robert talking about Dusty didn't deserve a contract extension. Well, Robert, yeah, he did. Yeah, he did too. I mean, we can't sit around having it both ways. Would you want Michigan to play hardball with him, and do you want Indiana to go and take him away? I mean, no, you didn't want that. So, and I understand that he got the contract against Michigan State and lost that night, and so it's never a fun feeling where you get somebody like that. But that's a little bit of an overreaction there, and it can be weird. But if you talk yourself through it, you knew that Dusty was an Indiana guy. It happened fast. What he was doing with Michigan, and then where they were at. There was one team, and so it just happened. It just happened faster than you expected with IU, and Dusty having the kind of season that he had. So, but no, he did deserve it. This is also an overreaction. I mean, they can. You might say this is who they are. They are who they are. They play close games. They're soft. They don't have the guard play, and I get it, but let's see what happens. William is talking about same mistakes, a lot of turnovers, lack of fundamentals, just bad coaching and horrible adjustments. Yeah, they are making the same mistakes. They turn it over an awful lot. They haven't been shooting well. They don't have the guards. Trey is taking a step back. Gale can't shoot. He's their starting shooting guard. Can't shoot. And he's a turnover machine. He's a ticking turnover time bomb. There's your starting guards. Namari, you want to put him as a guard. Namari's nice player. But then you're down to Reuben Jones, Kaysen, and Pippen. And this is the time, usually when you're picking teams to have success in March, you're talking about strong guard play. Michigan does not have strong guard play. Now, today they didn't have strong anything except Vlad. Maybe you want to look at Cheddar, but come on. CK is saying I'm waffling. Please stop waffling. This team is ass right now. They played like ass today, but look, what do you want me to say? They're going to lose. I'll get to that. I'm going to crank it up here I will give you my outlook on the rest of this. So the majority of people on here, and look, you understand that. You even understand if you're typing it, that you're talking about losing the rest of their games that they have left. I mean, come on. Hadley says Illinois now won the last 9. And to be out-rebounded at your own basket is uncalled for. Good luck against Maryland, a much better team. Robert is saying when he played, we didn't play soft like this. Mr. Martini's not beating around the bush. They don't look like a dangerous team. Danny Wolf played like he just rolled out of bed. I mean, look, here we are. It's all kind of the same stuff over and over. AT, hard watch. Zero energy and desire. No rebounding, lacks defense, and missed layups. Hoping they type that for the tournament. Woo! Yeah, AT. Yeah, other than that, how was your day? Dusty comes on and says, yeah, we didn't have any energy. We didn't play with desire. Couldn't rebound. We just couldn't guard and play defense, and we missed a lot of layups. So we need to tighten some things. We got to clean some things up. Yeah, send me a bottle of blue cheese over, Rip. I'm ready too. Take this L. No, Wolf was not a wolf or a dog today. Let's see. Go Blue 1234 says a lot of people will pick Michigan to lose in the first round of the NCAA tournament. I think, well, at least one game, popular underdog picks tend to lose in the first round. Let me get to a couple. I'm going to take a couple more here and put my thoughts together on the remaining schedule and everything else. Getting close to go time now. They still have time to right the ship and make a run in the Big Ten tournament and on to the NCAA. That's from DC. It's always good to see DC on here. Here's Ferris is preaching staying calm. We are going to the tournament. Let's see what happens. G Money says this is a wake-up call before the tournament starts. It is a wake-up call. Wednesday's a very important game. If Michigan follows up today's game, listless game, with the same kind of performance, I'm not saying that they have to win the game, but can they come out and play like their basketball lives depended on it? That's how Illinois played today. Can they guard someone? Can they get in the opponent's face? Can they play hard? Yeah, being able to shoot and pass and not turn it over, those things would be nice too. But I don't know, Wolf, when he's casually, he's got this high dribble and he's like throwing these like most finesse passes like into traffic. What do they do when they're watching the film? Dusty's like, why are you just like throwing it in there casually? You got to dial it in. They were playing like it was a YMCA game. This is not like a mix one, like let's get some style points, just kind of protect the ball on your home floor. Do they want to? I would add, Dusty, does this team want to do some damage? That's the question he needs to ask. Because the guys around there, I would walk in there and say, guys, you fell flat on your face. And I would take some chairs and I would throw them around the locker room. And then I would say, get back in here tomorrow and let's show up against Maryland. Out. Then I would walk into that news conference and I would show my teeth to those reporters. Yeah, we blew it today. From every single way that you could talk about basketball and what we want to do and how we want to play, we didn't do it. We did the opposite of that. If he wants to put it on himself, that's fine. If he wants to go down, maybe he should call Danny Wolf out. Maybe he should call Roddy Gale out. Maybe he should call Dre Donaldson out. But I don't know about calling them all out individually. Maybe he should just say, Vlad played well today. Everyone else did not. And that's a problem. We'll see you Wednesday. We're going to show you what Michigan basketball is all about on Wednesday. If we play like we played, this is me being Dusty May, and I don't know if Dusty May doesn't really yell or anything, so I'm guessing that he's not going to act like this. But Dusty May could come out and say, if we play like we played today on Wednesday, then what everybody's saying on the Maize and Blue Reviews, Michigan Basketball Postgame Live, that we're frauds, that we're one and done, that this season is over, that we're ready to go to next year, well, they will all be right if that's how we play on Wednesday. So that's what it's about. You're going to, their season is not over, technically. They got a lot of ball games yet to play. They got 2 teams that are going to be in the tournament coming up. Good tests. And I tell you, if you roll over, somebody already mentioned it next Sunday. Oh, Michigan State, they just like live for stuff like this. So nobody's feeling sorry for Michigan. They got to completely turn around the effort department. But I think Dusty looks at his staff and says, yeah, our guards are, but everybody was bad today, but our guards, we can't score the ball. We're not very good at passing it. All that kind of stuff showed up today. So yeah, Wednesday is a day to show everyone if this team's ready for March, or if it's just like, let's pat them on the head and say, hey, nice job getting to 20 games and getting into the tournament, but you guys got an obvious lot of holes. You're not very good offensively, and you're not very good defensively overall, to tell you the truth. Part of that is rebounding. So what do you guys want? You guys want to just be in the end saying, hey, at least they made the tournament. Let's look to year 2. Let's get to spring football. People around here are used to going to spring football pretty quick. Looking at the basketball team saying, I'm out. Out. I wouldn't do that. I mean, there's some people I know you feel like that today. I'd say, let's see what happens on Wednesday. Wednesday is going to be a real good indicator, because if they look like they did today on Wednesday, what do you think they're going to look like up at East Lansing on Sunday? And this thing could go from trajectory pointed way up to all of a sudden, spiraling down really quick. Regroup. They need to regroup. They do need to regroup. They need to regroup. They've been winning some ball games that they probably shouldn't have won. This really all season long. You go back, even that winning at Wisconsin, they were missing front end of one-on-ones. They did not play. They win the game. So that is the most important thing. But you look and you watch these games, you're like, there was a lot of signs. I don't know. You don't want to say you get lucky. But there were a lot of signs that they weren't doing the things that really good basketball teams do, even though they were winning. Missing free throws. They missed a lot of them. Turning it over at an alarming rate. Not having very good guard play. And check. I mean, all those things were there. Some ways it's amazing that they're sitting here and have the record that they do. I got a couple more things on here. What else do I got? Oh, here's the play of the game. The play of the game was the overall lack of rebounding, offensive rebounding for Illinois 19. If you want looking for a stat, pick one of those threes. They all seem to be backbreakers when Michigan tried to do anything to get back into it in the second half. Michigan now is 22-7 and 14-4 overall. Looks pretty good. If we were just dropped in on the second day of March, you would say, wow, Dusty May's a miracle worker. But then you would say, yeah, but you just got over a game that was their worst of the year. Today was their worst game of the year. And say, yeah, they lost, but yeah, Purdue. That was at Purdue. Yeah, but Michigan State, they're right. Okay, you want to say it was Michigan State? Go ahead. I'll go with today. Ken Palm, these numbers are, Ken Palm, people were playing the old Ken Palm doesn't know what he's doing with Michigan, where they've been in terms, they were 15th in the polls, but they were down there at 25 and the 6th ranked Big Ten team, even Illinois. They were like, how's Illinois in front of Michigan? KenPalm.com. But that's the way it is. See Wisconsin and Michigan State up there in the top 10. I have some arrows next to Iowa State and Missouri. I was going to get into There's I don't know exactly. I've done it for at least 5, probably 10 years. When the tournament happens, I look at both the offensive adjusted rate and the defensive adjusted rate, and I look for anomalies there. And I don't pick teams that are just way out of bounds. There's here's the it's something like, I think it's that you have to be top 20 in both offense and defense. And actually, I wrote it down. Why don't I just read it? Since 2002, all but 2 of the teams that have won it all have been inside the Ken Pom adjusted offensive defensive metrics top 20. So when you go back, and so you see Duke, their offense adjusted is 2, their defense is 4. All of these teams, Auburn and at the top, Houston and Florida, those 4, they're all there. But you look at Tennessee, got a victory yesterday over Alabama. They're 28, but their defense is number 1. And you say, well, you're gonna throw them out because of that Ken Pom? I wouldn't. I don't go with the ironclad 20. But what I do when it gets down to the tournament, St. John's would be one, because I like St. John's. But if you look at their defense, their rating is 2, but their offense, this is the anomaly, 71. I'm not taking St. John's to do anything in the tournament. Michigan, their defense, 16. So they're actually in the top 20, but here they were 37 offense, and that's probably backing up. But I just wanted to put that in there. 2 teams right now that if you were saying, hey, who would you take a flyer on to make the Final Four or to win it all? How about Iowa State? 21-8 on their offense and defensive stats. How about Arizona? They are inside the top 20, 18-17. That would be one that you might want to look at. What's weird is, look at Maryland's pretty close. Michigan State's got some of those pretty good numbers as well, 25-6 with their offense and defense. But I don't know. I just put those out there. It's getting that time of year where people like it. The resume heading into today, the quad 1 record, 8-3, strength of record was 11, and their net, Michigan's. Did you know that net stood for NCAA evaluation tool? I didn't until today when I looked it up. Michigan ranking 23. All those numbers will, of course, the strength of record, not, but the net ranking, that's going to be dipping down and not look so good. Let's look at that upcoming schedule. Lenardi, as of Friday, had Michigan 3, was watching the game today. Palm had Michigan. Did I say 4? I think I just said 3. Lenardi has Michigan as a 4. Palm today, I saw, had Michigan as a 3. Let's check that upcoming schedule. It is brought to you by the Maize and Blue Review. Give yourself or that Michigan fan in your life the gift of the Maize and Blue Review for 2025. Go to michigan.rivals.com. Here it is, Wednesday. I got to give you a programming note for Wednesday for those of you that watch this Michigan basketball postgame live show. I will do a postgame live. I'm going to go to this game. And so I usually start within, today it was 1 minute afterwards, sometimes 5 minutes. I don't know if it's been any later than that, but it's going to be a minute, maybe like an hour, however long it takes me to get back from Michigan and Maryland. Michigan doesn't show up, everybody's going to think he's had enough, he's done. That's not the case. I'll be here. It's just going to be not 5 minutes after the game, unless I do something from the Chrysler Center, but that's not going to be very long. So I'll come back and turn on the machine at that point. I'm going to take some more feedback, but I'm emphasizing Wednesday to see what this team, teams, how they react. You look at teams that have even won championships like in the pros. They don't sweep through every series. They can lose a ball game, and sometimes they can lose by double figures or even get waxed like Michigan did today. It's important how you respond to that. And with Michigan, the way they've been playing, and they put themselves in position to play to make next Sunday be a championship game that looks like it's gone by the boards now. How they pick themselves back up and get back out on the floor on Wednesday, to me, is going to be pivotal. They look like like they did today. It's not going to be very good news, I don't think, for U of M the rest of the way. I don't expect them to. I did expect them to split with Michigan State before the season, and then during the season, I don't expect that right now. So they are the number 2 seed in the Big Ten tournament. They want to show their fans, show college basketball fans at large, that they can be a dangerous team in the tournament. We'll get to Sunday in Indianapolis. Because if you bow out early in the tournament, you bowed out the way they played today, and then you bow out in the Big Ten tournament, people are not going to think, whether it matters or not, rest or anything else. And I know they just played 4 games in 8 days. I don't know. Are we using that? Like, no, I don't think so. I don't use that. So they've got a couple outs here. I'll feel better about their NCAA prospects if they come out and play well on Wednesday. And then, well, let me say that again. I feel better about their chances in the Big Ten tournament if they can come out and play well Wednesday and then play hard against Michigan State. And I'll feel it's just going to be natural. If you told me right now that they lost their first game, whoever they play in the Big Ten tournament, I'm not going to sit around talking about, this team's going to make a big run. What? They'll be lucky to win a game. But the perception and the outlook can change depending on how they play these next couple games. True enough, they look like crap today, but their job is to turn that perception around. We'll look for some of the fans who may have just gotten in. I'd like to see where the feedback is at. Fancy Lion, who started us out earlier, said there is some truth to teams playing U of M like it's a national championship. I mean, it's crazy. Well, Michigan's number 1 rival in basketball. I would say Ohio State's too. Wisconsin and Illinois are there. Illinois fans but Illinois never won anything, and they're mad that they beat Michigan twice in 1989, and then Michigan beat them in the Final Four. They're mad about that. They still are. And so, there's always that. Yeah, well, if you want to be Michigan, and you want to be Michigan, Michigan holds its head up high and says, we're Michigan. We want to play for championships each and every year. We're not settling for anything. Well, and the teams, when teams play against Michigan, they all want to beat Michigan. There is that part. So I don't know, like they play it like it's a national championship game. There have been a couple these last 2 games. Did they bank 2? They banked 2 threes last game. They banked 2 in. Maybe this is something new. Maybe teams should start throwing it up. I was watching Auburn yesterday, and on consecutive shots, Kelly from Auburn hit glass and it went in. I've seen it once, I saw it today twice, but the same player on back-to-back shots hit it off glass and went in. I mean, it's a 1 in a million. I don't know. I've never seen it before. So I don't know. Kenneth, yep, I've addressed the not making a run kind of thing. And so I've given you my thoughts there on it. I don't know if we have anything new or not. SW Lion, I was talking about throwing chairs. He says Dusty is not a throwing a chairs around guy. You have to be your authentic self. You're playing like they're content with what they've accomplished, don't look like they want to accomplish anything more. Yeah, Dusty hasn't really had anything to be mad about up to this point. Today, I think he does. There's a time and place, sure. And we wouldn't hear about it. I am a throw the chairs around the room kind of guy once in a while. You can only do it. You get this deck when you're a coach. You got to do things. I've never coached, so this is just my read on coaches. You do everything to try to get your team to play their best and be their best version of themselves. And yeah, you do have to be authentic. You can't go out there and, act like a stark raving lunatic on the sideline when you're going up against Tom Izzo just because he is, because you feel like you have to, match what he's doing. But you got to be yourself. I get that. I think in that deck of cards, somewhere in there is, let me show this team just how much I'm disappointed in them. And if it's can it be a motivational tactic? Let me take this chair and throw it at him. Yeah, you're right. It's not going to happen. Yeah, we've been down here. Rebounding was the most embarrassing part, allowing 19. Yeah. I don't know that to me, it was that it was March. And now everyone in March is a college basketball fan. There'll be a lot of people that were watching Michigan for the first time. It's like, oh, it's March. Hey, let's watch Michigan. Michigan State's playing the the first game. Michigan's playing the second. These guys are playing next week. I mean, now it's it's college basketball time. And then Michigan goes out there. And for the people that watch it for the first time, you say, this is the team. This is the team that we're talking about. So, but it's just one game that way. But because it's March and because it probably ended their dream of a regular season title. I mean, those things, it was kind of bizarre over the last 2 weeks that they were in position, but they were. So you credit them in the end for putting themselves in position. But then the further you go in sports, in playoff situations, in championships type situations, the more it hurts. And the bigger the further you fall when you rise to these type of spots. And this was a spot they had obviously put themselves in contention to win a championship, which is a big deal. It would have been unbelievable in some ways. And so when they bow out, seemingly, State could lose the high. Well, like I said, stranger things have happened, but I'm not ready to even say that, even though I just did. But so this was a big thud. So that one hurts. And then you're starting to measure yourself like who's ready, who's peaking at the right time. Michigan does not look like they're peaking at the right time. Oh, does this mean we'll see how Dusty gets his team to respond. We'll see if these guards can see if they can start playing like dogs. We'll see. All right, so that is going to do it today. Like I said, on Wednesday, it'll be a little bit later. So I'm going to go to that game. and I don't anticipate being on right afterwards unless I try to pull something off at the game. I'm just going as a fan. I'm not sitting in the I mean, you sit in the press area. It's right in the stands, anyways. But I don't know. I don't know about doing a post game right there. I didn't check any of that, so I'm going. So, but I will do a post game afterwards when I get back. So that's the news on that. Tomorrow, 2:00. Jim Scarcelli, the former Wolverine, expected to join us. We'll see where he's at. He's done some coaching. See, what kind of advice he would give to this basketball team. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you over on the Maize and Blue review on the Den. Going to be hopping tonight. And once again, the final. Illinois, it's led by 1 at the half, but they go on to a 20-point victory, 93-73. Everybody have a great night. Thanks for watching. Bye.